from my room? Thank you. So what we talked about last time, or what we really went through last time, if you haven't been able to watch the video, do go back and watch the video from day one, because it gives a lot of background information that's really going to help you to kind of move through. We did start to go through the chakras. This is not Let's Learn Chakra 101. I'm assuming most of you already know about the chakras, and if not, you will get what you need, but we're taking it a few steps further. Our work on working with the chakras in this series is really to help you examine what's going on within you health-wise and what kind of issues might you be having because of any issue with the chakra. The other thing that we're going to do tonight then, we really start to get into why did you develop baggage in yourself in the first place? And that's a Wisconsin way to say it, baggage, just so y'all know. And forget the baggage, you know. So it really is examining within yourself, you know, what is it that I'm holding? What are my internal triggers? What are my needs? What are my reactionary behaviors? What am I holding inside that is keeping me back from being as happy as I can be? So that's tonight, that's the biggest thing we're going to do. So we're going to go through a very light review, and then we're going to go right into it. Mark, you seem uncomfortable sitting up there like that. Are you okay? Or do you want to sit on the floor? Or? Okay, good. As long as you're like, oh God, am I okay here? Yeah, you're totally fine. I just want to make sure you're comfortable. You have a look on your face that said, oh. All right. So let's start by just taking some nice deep breaths. Let's all just kind of relax in. So let's just take a deep cleansing breath, deep into the base of the abdomen. So you have a wonderful meridian that actually runs, there's about an inch behind your body that runs here. It's going to run in the front here. It's going to run back here, run down here. It's going to go in between your legs to a place called your perineum. Your perineum is between the anus and vagina, or anus and testes. It's an important area that we breathe into, and I'll explain why in a moment. The energy then splits, goes down the back of your legs, moves over the front of your legs, moves up here, crosses at the perineum again, comes up the back, all the way up into here, okay? So what happens, though, is this meridian actually runs right through here, which we're going to learn a little bit about today, which is your pituitary gland. Your pituitary gland releases cortisol, the stress hormone, and adrenaline, the fear hormone. So whenever we've got anxiety or we've got stuff that we've been going through throughout the day, it's been a really rough day or whatever is going on, you're going to end up with releasing cortisol and adrenaline. The only way to shut that down is there's a physiological switch in your body that switches it off. When you take a deep breath and you concentrate on focusing on that perineum and you breathe energy into the perineum, you drop your pelvic floor, you let your Buddha belly hang out, you relax your butt muscles, and you breathe even deeper, all of a sudden it goes switch. And there's a switch in your body that shuts off the release of cortisol and adrenaline. So that's why when, you know, kids are having an absolutely horrible time, you know, you say, okay, honey, take a deep breath. Just take a deep breath. That's why. So let's take another deep breath, and this time breathing in through our nose, really letting the pelvic floor drop, allowing yourself to create the biggest Buddha belly ever, breathing deep into the perineum. Relax even more and take an even deeper breath. Hold slightly at the top of your breath, and now release the energy through your mouth slowly and deliberately. Changes the energy in here a lot. Take one more of those. This time breathing in, imagining you're taking source energy in through the crown of the head, breathing in so deep, let that source energy flow all the way down into the perineum. Breathing deep, relaxing, and then when you release your breath through the mouth, let it hot, vaporous, stress and anxiety and anything you're holding from the day that you don't want to hold. Yeah. Good. And then just feel yourself sinking in. This is great energy in here. We've got a lot of good stuff coming up tonight. So let's just really be there. Okay, the first thing that I want to start with for everyone, whether you are online or whether you're in person, questions from last time. Anything that kind of stuck in your mind that you want to have clarified, or any comments that you have over last time, or anything that just kind of sat there. And I'm going to change presentation. You know why? That's because I was such a great teacher that nobody has any questions. That's exactly why nobody has any questions. or it's just so much information, I don't even know what to ask first. That might be more like it. Okay, so we're going to get started. Just a light review of last time. And I'm trying to change the slide on the My Energy, My Health, My Happiness. That is not going to work. Let me get myself onto my PowerPoint. Here we go. Okay, so just a couple of reviews about what's coming up, so we actually can see this right this time. If you remember last time, it was a little askew. So tonight we're going to talk about continuation of chakra analysis. We're going to talk about discovering your emotional triggers. Next time, we're actually going to get to some of this tonight. Learning to heal your emotional triggers. Some of that we'll touch on tonight. But then next time, we're really going to get into it again, very heavily, learning to do self-clearing, self-healing. The 26th of February, we're going to learn the energy of relationships and learning to self-heal, as well as I'd like to get into the energy of money, if we can, on this one. So, yeah, so it'll be a good one. All right. So just a few reminders. Just remember, here's what we're all going through. Human beings are this. We are emotional. Anybody who says we're not, you're lying. There is oh, do you have this one? Do you need to get in front of mine and kind of promote yourself from mine? Why don't you go ahead and do that, and I can talk about this without the slides being up. I can totally punt. So, so what this slide says is just to really keep in mind that the big facade out there is that we're not majorly emotional beings. It is not women who have PMS who are emotional. It is everyone. Everyone has emotional baggage. Everyone has emotional scarring. Everybody has all this stuff. And why? What did we learn last time? Because that's what we came here for. We came here exactly to get into the muck of it, to allow our emotions to be there so that we can learn. If we suppress our emotions, we're not learning. We don't allow ourselves to learn. If you were taught, don't cry, don't feel, don't do that, well, good Lord, then we're going to bottle it all in and we're going to make ourselves ill. We're also not doing what we came here for. We came here to get into it emotionally. The other thing that we are as beings, we are full of mental chatter. We're full of mental chatter about, am I good enough? Is this good enough? What if I don't do this right? Is this going to be okay? What about if this happens? What if that happens? Oh my gosh, I remember when this happened to me when I was 12. We've got so much chatter. Chatter, what you're going to learn tonight, the second thing we're going to learn tonight is to really understand the pituitary and pineal glands in the head. There are particular places we think from. We can think from our head this way, which is all the chatter, or we can think from our head this way. That's a big difference. Okay? So we're going to talk about that tonight because we are definitely human beings who are emotional. We are flawed. We're full of self-doubt, fears, and ego. We are physical beings, yeah. We've got health, energy, and wellness, but we're also full of this chatter. Okay? That's what we are. Remember that I talked about last time, you are this beautiful, divine piece of energy. And when you came here and decided, hey, time for me to go to school, I've got a lot to learn, you basically said, okay, give me all the tools, I need to fill up my backpack. So what did you put in your backpack to come to school here? You gave yourself an ego, and you gave yourself a pituitary gland. The ego makes it so that you get jealous and you have to be right and you want to be special and you want to be validated and you get upset when people are like this and upset when people are like that and you get triggered. That's your ego. It's what it is, purposeful. You gave yourself that. The other thing you gave yourself was that pituitary gland so you can get into fear, so you can get into anxiety, so you can get into chatter, so that you can get into worry. All right? And then you can get into fight or flight. If you didn't have those two things, you would come down to this earth and here's how you would be. And it's like, wonderful. Look at all the starving children. Okay, and honestly, nothing would really bother you. And if nothing bothered you, you couldn't come here and learn your lessons. So when you got your the school list you get, your supply list, part of your supply list for coming to Earth School is you have your ego.
Okay, don't forget the fat people. You're going to need
that. And I can hear myself in here. No, I can hear myself in here. It's really bad. Yes, thank you. Okay, I have a really loud voice, just so y'all know. Okay, so basically that's what you did. You really packed those two things up and you came here to Earth. You basically said, okay, thanks, guys, I'm off to school. I'll see you in 85 years. All right, and off you went. with your full backpack full of chatter. All right. So here's the other thing that happens then. We know that this life is a great big classroom for your soul. We came here to learn lessons. What are our lessons? Just as a reminder from last time, your hardship. They're the hard experiences that you have. It is the agony, if you want to call it that, the suffering, the difficult times. You really set yourself up when you were a kid to learn all of this. And did I give you the stair analogy last time? Okay. So I want you to imagine your life is like a big set of stairs. All right? And here you go. Every landing is a peaceful time. And every step is a really hard time, okay? So when you're a kid, you're like, yeah, peaceful day. Oh, my God. Oh. And you're doing a lot of this, okay? And then there comes this pinnacle point in your life where it's time to change. It's time to let go of some of the ego. It's time to let go of letting your chatter take over. And that time when the time is right, the time is right, and you'll be there and you will shift. Because I swear to God, if you don't shift, the universe will shift you for you, and that's painful. Okay, so you get to this pinnacle point where your stairs have been kind of going like this, right? Or sometimes like this, right? And you get this kind of chaotic time where all of a sudden you're like, I've got to let go and I've got to change. And so things get really mucky. And I call it, this is your turbulence right in here. And you're learning to let go of old things from childhood, and you're really adjusting in multiple different ways. And then what happens after you go through all of this learning to let go, reasons why this class exists, teaching you how to let go, all of a sudden your stairs do this. Oh, here's a hard time. Oh, yeah, oh, I get it. Oh, what is this trying to teach me now? I can do this. And then you get another flat time there. Oh, yeah, that's tough. Yeah, this sucks to go through, but I get it. It's for a reason. Okay, so your stairs go from this to this. And it's when you get to that absolute pinnacle point where it's like something's got to give. I can't keep doing this. But what you do in your life is that in your childhood is very purposeful. You set up your experiences. You set up that trauma. You set up that lack of self-esteem. You set up that lack of self-worth. You set up that anxiety. You set up whatever it is that you need so that when you get to that point where you're ready to shift, you've got something to shift through. Because if everything is going well, why change? Really. And like I said last time, you didn't come here to be in peace. If you were going to stay in peace, you would have stayed where you were. Okay? You came here to get into it. And so now here's this point, and the stairs are changing. The other thing that we learned is that all of these lessons that we're going through are lessons to grow your soul. I have no interest in being a pontiff on whether there are past lives or not past lives. I'm going to tell you in my reality there are. In my reality, we go through many, many lives. We go through lives so that we can grow from a baby soul to an infant soul to a young soul to mature to old. And how do we get to that old category? We have to go through everything. We have to go through the good and the bad and the ugly and the beautiful. So our soul, to get into that old category, would have had to have murdered and been murdered. It would have had to have been a pedophile. It would have had to have been a victim. It would have had to have been rich and poor. It would have been gay and straight. It would have been male and female. You would have gone through all of these different things. It's the human understanding that, in the human experience, that all of that is bad. Is it hard? Yeah. Is it low vibrating? Yeah. Does it make us in misery? Oh, good Lord, yes. But that's what we came here to do. So when I look out at the world and I see misery and I see suffering and I see murdering and I see raping and I see children who are starving, does it hurt me? I don't like it. But I can tell you honestly, I don't judge it either. I don't have that right. I don't know that soul who did that murdering of all those kids at that school, that they weren't exactly doing what they were supposed to, what they came here for. And I don't know that all of those kids didn't sign up for that as well. I don't know. But here's what I do know. I can't judge the human experience. I've got to let it move as it should. Do I want them to have accountability? Yes. Should they go to jail? Yes. Okay? Yes. That's part of the experience. Okay, but to look at ourselves and apply that to you, there's no murderers in this room, at least that we know of. Okay? But we know that we've all gone through things that we want to feel bad for, that we want to feel shameful for, that we want to feel guilty for, or we've gone through things where we want to blame somebody for that and we want them to feel shame and we want them to feel guilt or them to feel pain. But the reality is this, we chose it. We came here to do this. You also knew what you were getting into before you got here. You chose your family. Okay, you knew your lessons. Not all of them. Yeah, you chose that. Seriously, you chose your circumstances, but as we talked about last time, you still have choice here. You have choice how long these lessons are going to drag out. I explained one of my lessons was to deal with very manipulative, that's very judgmental, but that's the way I saw it at the time, very manipulative, very aggressive, very unstable people who would come at me and attack me, and then I was the victim. Yes, I was. Such a victim to their nasty naughtiness, and the reality is I chose them. The reality is they came into my life because I wasn't learning the lesson, and they kept coming into my life, and actually I realized they came into my life as male and female. Just kept coming in until I realized that I wasn't going to be triggered by them, that I could understand them, that I didn't have to react to them, and I didn't have to beat myself up if I did get upset. Until I learned that very, very intricate lesson within myself, they kept coming. So I had a choice. I could have learned that 20 years ago, but I didn't. I had to wait until I grew into my wisdom, and then finally I'm like, oh, yeah, you're totally drawing them in. Do you see the pattern, Kelly? Here it is. And so as we learned last time, karma. Your karma doesn't mean you did something bad and now you're going to pay. And also doesn't mean you did something good, now we'll reward you. There is no reward or punishment system. It's just what is what is. Your lessons are your lessons. Your karma is that you didn't learn your lesson. It's going to come back around again. We also learned about this beautiful little shape last time. We learned that this is what you break down to inside of all of your atoms. Your electron, proton, and neutron all break down into this beautiful stuff. What is this? It is your consciousness. This is a big piece. If you haven't watched part 1 of this, please go back and watch part 1 to understand this. We break down in our bodies into nothing but our own consciousness. Okay? And what that means is that you choose whether you hold old patterning. You choose whether you want to move past it. Is it easy? No. Sometimes they're hidden and it's hard for us to see. It's hard for us to know how to let go. It's tough stuff. I'm not saying it's easy. It's not like, just make the decision to let it go. Okay, that's not, no, we're not that easy. We are complex beings, but we do have the control. The other thing that this tells us, if we break down in our bodies into nothing but our own consciousness, and that consciousness is in every little teeny tiny point of light that you're made of, that means that all of our health issues are a product of us. Either a product of what we brought into this life or a product of what we're working through. Okay? How we feel about ourselves. Remember that whole explanation I explained last time? I've had 11 operations and 5 pre-existing conditions and all that kind of stuff. That went away when I learned what? To love myself. When I learned to forgive myself and others. When I learned to like who I was. And when I genuinely got there, everything changed. The other thing we learned, you are the same as beautiful source energy. This stuff right here, this is what source energy looks like. Okay, God energy, love energy, whatever you want to call it, this is it. Okay, the only difference between this and, which is inside of us, and source energy is that we've got conditioning to the human experience. We are conditioned to believe I'm not good enough. We are conditioned to believe I am limited. I can't heal myself. I can't heal the world. I can't change this. I can't change whether I have money or not. I'm a product of the system. Hello, victim. No, you're not. No, you're not. Money is energy just like anything else. It's not my fault that, that this woman came to attack me and be mean to me. She's just mean. Oh, no, honey. You brought that in. You have all the patterning that created that. This whole piece of us being conditioned is creating everything around us. Source energy, when we heal with it, it's pure, unconditioned love. That's all it is. And it's amazing. That's why it's so beautiful when it comes into our body. It's high vibrating, it's unconditioned. But doesn't that tell you this? You are as powerful as source energy. How did I heal my hip? Without any knives, without any medications, of bone and tissue, cartilage, because I knew that I was source energy. I know I'm the same. Okay? So when we think about us, we're the same as that beautiful source energy. We're just conditioned to the human experience. And so that brings us then into what we started to do last time, which was to really examine the energy centers. We examined the root chakra. We really looked at what we're holding. We examined all of these foundational needs are held within our root chakra, and we looked at the health conditions that come along with them. We looked at, you can either be born with issues that you've got to clear in this lifetime, that you're carrying in from last time, or you're carrying in from your lineage, or you're just carrying, or you developed in this lifetime. And all of those things are going to cause you health concerns, okay? We talked about the sacral energies, and we talked about expressing who you truly are. We talked about that the sacral energies are who you are as a soul when you're not in this body, and are you living authentically as that soul. I had a great experience with this after last class. So I've been struggling with my own personal issue, which is I've been having, for like the last 6 months, reoccurring UTIs and urinary tract infections, kidney infections, bladders. And everyone, we've done every type of releasing I could possibly imagine, everything I could possibly imagine. And I'm like, wow, what can this be? What can this be? And so a lot of people are saying it's ancestral. You're clearing things for the suppression of women, which I do believe is, I knew that was one of the things I needed to clear in this lifetime. But when I really thought about it, think about this. Here's Kelly Schwegel as a little girl. And tell me, for those of you all know me, okay, how much this isn't me now. I was shy. I was timid. I was very quiet. I was very loving and snuggly. I cried a lot. I was very sensitive, very weepy, but very, very quiet. Anybody see that in me right now? The cuddly and loving, that's for sure. I suppress crying. I am a strong, full, powerful woman. Oh. Maybe what I need to do is examine my own authentic self and allow that to come through. The strength that I developed and all that power was to get through life. Time for me to shift, right? We've got to look at ourselves and say, what is your true you? And let that come through. Power versus force, that's for sure. We're going to talk a little bit more about power versus force in a moment. When we get into the pineal gland, I'm going to talk about the relationship, and especially when I talk about moving from third energies to fourth energies, which is something that has to happen right now. So we are going to get more into that. All right. So now let's start a little bit on tonight. So let's do just one more. This is a slide I didn't show you last time, but I'm going to bring in this time. So what I wanted to show you, we talked about how the chakras in the body, and I actually am going to pull one slide ahead here quick. The chakras within our body are actually myofascial tissue, all right? So in our body, we have this fascial tissue. It looks like this. It's nice little spider web. When we get upset about something, it gets gunky. When we have a physical trauma, it can get gunky. It gets all stuck together and gooey. Okay, so this right here, mental chatter, feeling like you're not good enough, physical trauma, any of these issues, it's going to get stuck. When it gets stuck together, and you don't release it, there's something called pain that happens in your body, because this needs to be a vibrating highway, a free vibrating highway. Remember, these tubules are hollow and they're fluid filled and they carry your energy. So if this is your energetic highway in your body and you're 60% made of this, and you've got gunked up stuff and you've got energy blockages, that's going to hurt. Because remember that pain is a vibration. All emotion is a vibration. So if all of a sudden you're getting into the lowest vibration, guilt and shame, that's already painful enough. It feels awful in our body. But then we actually get into a place where we're like, we actually get lower than that. Getting lower into that is pain. You get physical pain because the vibration is so low, your body can't tolerate it. Pain. Okay? So when we have a physical trauma, and we stop something, we're stopping the energy so quickly in our body and in our myofascial system that it hurts because you're going to zero vibration. Does that make sense? When you stop the vibration, that hurts. Low vibrations or no vibrations hurt our body. So this is causing low vibration or no vibration. Okay, physical trauma, emotional pain, mental pain. There are particular places in your body where you're going to see belts of fascia. This right here is a chakra. See that? Okay? So let's take a look at the belts of fascia. This is right out of the myofascial textbook. Here are the belts of fascia in your body. Okay? The belts of fascia are indicative of a chakra, because what is the other word for chakra? Energy center. So if this is your energy and it's a concentrated center of your fascia, there's your energy center. Each of the vibrations within your energy centers are going to go from a lower functioning, which we learned the basic needs is the lowest functioning in the body. We've got to have safety, security, shelter, being needed, being nurtured, being wanted, being supported. Those are basic needs. They're a lower vibration. These are the actual hertz here. 90 to 104 are the way that you're at a healthy chakra. Your healthy vibration will be at somewhere between 90 and 104. Moving up from there, then we've got our next basic needs to actually be accepted for the soul that I am. To actually be able to express myself the way that I need to. Okay, so that's your next one. And you're going to see that these will continue to increase in vibration just as they increase in function. Lowest functioning to highest functioning. Here's another interesting part about chakras, though. There is a division right here. These three chakras are for earthly living. Okay, and the heart too, but there are two parts to the heart. Okay, then we've got the high heart up. These are for more existential living. Okay, so really understanding your higher self, your earthly self. Okay, the divider is the heart. So if we've got earthly issues, safety, security, shelter, being able to express yourself, being even seen or heard in a good way, loving yourself, you're not going to open up very well up here. Okay? Or you might completely ignore the earth and you might just be existential, which means that all of these are going to be totally out of function. I'm just love and I'm just going to live. I'm going to ignore this life. I am not going to have any earthly issues. Okay, when that happens, you are completely ignoring your earthly existence. You didn't come here to be an angel. You are an angel here on earth. Can we be loving? Can we be beautiful? Can we be connected to source? Yes. Understanding that this is an earthly existence. You came here to work on this. And if you keep deluding yourself or distracting yourself with everything spiritual, you're ignoring what's here. So you can have out of balance this way, or you can have out of balance this way. Okay? We need to marry the two. We are beautiful, angelic, lovely, beautiful beings who are having a human experience. Right? All right. So we're going to start continuing on to looking at the chakras. But what I want you to do is I'm going to have you just debrief with a partner first. Ask each other questions, come up with questions that you want to ask me, and then I'm going to answer questions for a couple minutes. Yeah. They have originally found a picture of the fabric of space. Yeah, in part one of this, I talked about the macrocosm versus the microcosm, and every single mathematical property and every geometric property is the same everywhere you go, whether you're in the multiverse, whether you're in the universe, whether you're inside your body, or whether you're creating a soul or an animal or a dinosaur or a body. It doesn't matter. It's all the same mathematical principles. Isn't that incredible? I'd love to find that if you have it. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Have a conversation with each other about everything that I just reviewed and see if there are any questions. Yes. It's not? Kidding. Can we print another one of the workbooks? One more? Let me go see if I can find, let me go see. Okay. So I'll print you one together, but here's all the pages.
Okay.
Okay, so I can get it all together for you at the end.
All right. Don't worry.
I think it's going to help a lot, actually. Let's just start to wrap up the conversation.
You look like you're wearing the first or second chakra. You look like you're wearing the first or second chakra.
Yeah, maybe it's purposeful because of what I'm going through, right? Valerie told me I look like a little girl. I'm like, oh, no, I'm just trying to have no pressure here. Thanks. Okay, let's go ahead and pull back. Questions, thoughts, comments. Is it questions, thoughts, or comments? And the room is stunned. Everyone's like, Kelly, you just did the review, and I'm overwhelmed, and I got to go home. Yeah. Well, I will tell you, honestly, I think Maria and I were talking about this, about how it is amazing how if you don't record like personal sessions with me, or if you're in this and you don't go back and watch it again, you have to just let little bits sink in and little bits sink in and little bits sink in, because there's a lot of information. And there's no other way I've thought about how can I slow it down. I can't. It's like I kind of have to give it, and then you just have to go back and look at it again. There are people who come to these workshops like 6, 7, 8 times. Yeah.
Some of it's fine.
Yeah. Well, and
the information's familiar, but you integrate it in a different way,
mm-hmm.
having a little bit more experience.
Yeah, as you grow and as you change, and you watch this, you'll be ready to hear something else. Because remember that that everything is a vibration, and you're only going to be able to receive here in your ears and in your head what you're ready to receive. So if you're not ready to receive it, you won't. But the next time you might be. So coming back to hear it again and again is helpful. Yes.
How are those numbers changed?
Yeah, she asked how the numbers are obtained, the hertz are obtained, and it's basically by putting an electrical measurement. I don't know what the name of the machine is. We'll have to look at the name from science, but they actually are able to measure, just like they can put a biofeedback measurement on you. They do the biofeedback, and then they can figure out what the vibration is and how the vibrations go. And so by testing multiple people, you can get a range.
Have you seen the computer programs where they can read your chakra?
Yeah, she asked if I've seen the computer programs that can read your chakras. Yes, I have, and that's pretty cool. You can actually, there's a lot in technology. Yeah, they will actually change. You can also, and then that's the same way that they actually look at colors around your body, as they read the vibration around your body. And as you read the vibration around your body, if the vibration is at a particular level, it'll be blue, so the computer shows blue. So that's how they're actually kind of reading your aura on some of the computers. Yeah. Okay. So let's get into some more really looking at your chakras. As a reminder to those who weren't here with us last time, each of the chakras are going to have in your workbook, it will explain what are the physical conditions that will come if you have an excessive or overactive chakra. An overactive chakra in your body means you're overindulging it. So if you've got a throat chakra and you're overindulging, I need to be heard, everybody hear me, ah, see me. Okay, you might have a big overindulged chakra. all right? But the opposite could also be true, where you would have a deficient chakra. A deficient chakra would be afraid to speak your truth, afraid to say anything, afraid to stand up for yourself. Okay, so you've got someone who has to, is exploding their voice chakra out over excessive, or you've got someone who's afraid to say anything under, or you've got balance. I speak when it's appropriate. I don't need attention from my voice. Or when I need to, I'll be a good self-advocate. Or I can speak a higher truth. Okay, so you're going to have those three different areas that you're going to look at. You will also see physical conditions that will happen, and you will see addictions that are along with each of the chakras. So let's take a look now at this one, which is called your solar plexus. When I do my work, I specialize in emotional clearing. So one of the biggest places I work is right here. In here, this is where you hold your emotions. It's just below your rib cage, so you're going to go below the rib cage in the center, about right here. And in here, this is where you're going to find all the needs of the ego in here, all that jealousy you'll feel, all that hatred, all that whatever it is, okay, that need to be justified, that need to be right, all that stuff is right here. Your sense of empowerment is here. How empowered do you feel to be the person who you really are? Do you remember the example that I used last time of that girl who went to work and she was really a shy, timid person, and she did kind of what I did. She felt she needed to be strong. And so that part of her, she tried to exert herself at work with force here, and it wasn't working. Okay? She didn't feel empowered to be the true her. Okay, to be the true her was quiet. And when she spoke, people would listen because she had something to say. She didn't have to be corporate America. She could be as girly as she wanted. She could be as soft as she wanted. And when she switched into that, wow, things shifted for her in a very big way. So feel empowerment to be you. You feel empowered to take control in your life. You feel empowered to try new things. You feel empowered to, take a risk. This is also your internal strength. I can get through anything, your tenacity, your resiliency. Bring it on, world, I can take it. Or it's okay. It's okay if that happens. I'm going to be okay. I remember, I think I must have been maybe about 6 or 7, and I remember I came up with this little technique. When I was in trouble, and I knew I was going to get in trouble, and my father was a beautiful man, but he used a wooden spoon, and that hurt when you got a spanking. All right? And I remember going, you're going to be in trouble. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? You get a spanking. Well, you can handle that. You might get grounded. You can handle that. What if they make you go to bed early? You can handle that. Okay. Tenacity. I can take it. Bring it on. What do you got for me? Okay? So we've got this sense in us, or this willpower, this strength that's there. The willpower, though, can get very, very broken in individuals. The sense that you can make it through can get broken. The feeling that I can be empowered to be whoever I need to be, even if they call me weird or funky or unusual or whatever that might be, I'm empowered to be me. Okay? So when we think about this chakra, there are some things that we need to talk about with this. A lot of the big things that come in our lifetime are the emotions that we hold. And we get emotions that are developed because, remember those stairs that we're climbing? Okay, those stairs give us all kinds of emotional baggage in our body. And we hold those right here. And a lot of people that I work with have this unwillingness to forgive themselves for what they've been going through. Whether it's you supposedly did something wrong, or this is saying I can't forgive myself because I went through the human experience. Or I can't forgive myself because I'm human, because I have jealousy, I have rage, I have guilt, I have shame, I have jealousy. Because those things exist, you think you need to not forgive yourself. And that somehow you're this big bad person. So one of the things that I can share with you, and I think did I share with you the 4 statements I came up with about myself? Okay, let me share those with you because they're a fun one. You know my 4 statements. They're great. So remember how I told you I had the 11 operations and the pre-existing conditions, and I brought in a lot of really bad things for myself. Bad boyfriends, money troubles, things like that, friendship troubles. And when I really got tired of it, and I hit that point where something had to give and I had to change. When I hit that point, I called up my mentor who was helping me through my clairvoyance, and she had worked with me for a little while. And I called her up and I'm bawling. And I just said, Renee, I can't do this anymore. I can't be sick. I can't be. And I was constantly sick. I had a really bad cold at the time. And I can't bring in another bad boyfriend. And I can't be broke all the time. And I can't do this. And she's like, oh, you're finally ready. And I'm like, what? I was like insulted. I'm like, what? And she's like, no, I mean, you just weren't ready to hear this before. I'm like, what? Okay, what? And I started to get a little triggered. And she's like, Kelly, just describe yourself for me. And here's me. So I'm pretty, and I'm energetic, and I'm a really good mom, and I'm a really good friend. And she's like, okay, we're just going to go behind all that. And I'm like, what? I love myself. No, okay, we're going to go behind all that. And she took me behind that and really made me look at some things with myself, and I wasn't really quite ready yet. I wasn't ready to be vulnerable. And so she said something which was one of my truths, but she said it. And I don't remember what it is at this time, but I remember really getting offended. How can you say that about me? That's not true, Renee. That's a mean thing to say. She's like, no, Kelly, look in there. Look at what you're holding. What do you think of you? Oh, dang. My walls came down, and I had to look. And when I stopped lying to myself about who I was, although I was energetic and I was kind and I was a great mom, I still had all this. And when I looked inside, the 4 statements I came up with that I know were 100% true were that I was a bad person, I was a worthless person, I was a sick person, and I was a broken person. And I truly saw how I believed those. I believed them 100% to be true in my life. I saw how it came in the form of friends. I had a new friend in my life who had just come in my life, and I remember in the back of my mind hearing, why do you want to be my friend? Someone who loves himself doesn't ask that question. When I got a raise at work, my career has always been amazing, and I know I worked hard and I deserved it. But here was my reaction. Why do they want to give me a promotion, or why do they want to give me a raise? Because you worked for it and you deserve it. But I didn't see it. And so one of the things that I had to do was I had to go back and I had to open up myself and I had to look at why? Why do I think I'm a bad person? Why do I think I'm worthless? And when I went back and I looked into why I thought I was bad and why I thought it was worthless, oh my gosh, the stuff that came in. Bullied on the playground, called dog-faced Kelly. My mommy forgot me everywhere. I was the middle child. I had promiscuous high school sex. I got a divorce. Oh God, what a bad, awful person I am. I had to learn this. We have 5 factors that go on in our life, or 5 things that we are always seeking in our life, always. And these are the factors that you need to go through and understand for self-forgiveness. The first thing that we are always looking for, hey. First thing is we're trying to find love. In all of our existence, we are always trying to find love. We're either trying to get it or we're trying to hold on to it. And sometimes it's desperate. If we didn't get it when we're young, we seek it, okay, desperately. The second thing we're always looking for is acceptance. And if we're not accepted, we're trying to be accepted for who we are or what we do or what we're about or even our personality or anything about us. Am I here with you? Okay, great. So we're trying to do that. We're trying to find physical affection. Okay, we need nurturing when we're young. If we weren't held and coddled and just absolutely loved, we're missing something. And it's going to come out later. Okay? We need loving touch when we're older or through our lives. Somebody just to touch us and love us. Okay, my mom was beautiful, but I didn't get a hug from her until I was 33. She couldn't do physical touch. Okay? Was I lacking? Oh, yeah. Did I need some nurturing? I got that from my dad, not my mom. She loved me. I knew that. I didn't get that. That whole piece about love, acceptance, physical affection are needed, but what about this? Healthy attention. We need to be seen and heard in a healthy way. We need people to see us and even acknowledge that we're there. You know how many adults come in and sit in my chair and they were never allowed to be them? They were never allowed to speak as them. They were never allowed to cry. They needed to be seen and not heard. There's all that not seen and heard in a healthy way. Or people who, I've had people come into my chair, they're homosexual. They couldn't be seen or heard in a healthy way. They had to be seen or heard as someone they're not. I couldn't be that. Hey, that girl who came in and to work, who was very quiet and shy and was trying to be corporate America, she tried all her life to be louder because it wasn't good to be shy. Well, yes, it is. That is you. So she couldn't be seen as her. She was seen as someone else. Okay? And the last one, yes. So if your parents, what he's asking is if your parents didn't disrespect you but also didn't give you respect. So it's almost as though in that way, in that way it's almost like you're in Blandville. You're existing, but you weren't really valued. And there's a big difference between being respected and valued for who you are and just existing. Trust would majorly come into that. Trust comes into all of these and that's also, trust is one of our foundational pieces. Can we trust that people are going to react well to us? Can we trust that people aren't going to hurt us? Can we trust that people are going to see us in a good way? Can we trust that people are going to be loving to us? So a lot of our trust does get and the lower two chakras are all about trust. The last one here then is support. Do we get the support that we need in life? Are they going to support your career choice? Are they going to support your lifestyle choice? Are they going to support your personality? Are they going to support who you are? Is life going to do that? For us to really move through, what we have to understand is that any time that we didn't get these, we're afraid to lose these, or we're desperately trying to find these, we are going to make misguided decisions. I said that one of the things I felt guilty for was a really kind of ridiculous sexual experience I had in high school. I should not have done that because Lord knows I was not supposed to have anything until I was married. And for me, seeking love. If I look back to this and I use my own personal experience, I wanted that and I wanted that. I wanted love and I wanted nurturing. And so where was I going to find that? In the arms of a guy, because that's the only way I knew how to find it. Okay, did I have to go back and forgive myself? You bet. These are the factors that we have to look at in ourselves and say, was I looking for these? Yeah, desperately. And I love you, Kelly. I get you, 17-year-old you. I understand you. I accept you. I accept you as part of me. So instead of feeling guilty or shameful or any of those things for that experience, I can only look at me and say, I get you. I love you. I want you as part of me. So glad you had that experience, right? Thoughts or questions on the 5 factors? It's a big one to ponder in yourself. Mm-hmm.
So if we didn't get afraid to lose or trying to find any of those things, what terrible things happened?
Yeah, so she asked if we didn't get afraid to lose or trying to find any of those 5 things, what would happen? We make pretty misguided decisions in our lifetime. We make decisions, and really, I say misguided, but really they're more reactionary. And so, or we make decisions we think we should feel guilty for, and we shouldn't. And I'm going to use the example of the woman who came to me, and she was completely destroying herself and tearing herself to pieces because she had an abortion. And I am not making any statements on whether it's right or not. I really am not here to do that. But I am going to tell you this, that she was beating herself up. And she said, and I just looked at her and I was like, well, okay, why are you hating yourself? And she said, because I murdered. And I said, did you? I said, weren't you just reacting to these 5 things? No, I killed. I said, really? What would have happened if you had had that child back in the 50s? Would your parents have loved you? No. Would they have supported you? No. Would you have had acceptance from society? No. Would you think that you would find a man who's going to marry you? No. Oh, so would you have been seen or heard in a good way? No. Because back in the 50s, women didn't go and have a child out of wedlock. It was very frowned upon. And so you were afraid of losing all of these. And she's like, yeah. So you made the decision because you knew you wouldn't get these, a basic human need. Like I said, I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong. I have no interest in that. But I have an interest in how she beat herself up. I have an interest in how she felt about herself afterwards. So what happens is that we make decisions we think we need to beat ourselves up for, which only does this. It brings guilt and shame. It brings self-loathing. It brings worthlessness. It brings all of these things into our body that we don't need to hold. But yet we put them in there because we think we should. But when really, what were we doing? Looking for something amazing. Amazing. Yeah. Say that again?
It doesn't produce anything productive.
No, it doesn't produce anything productive. You're 100% correct. And actually what it does is it takes us down further. All right. I want you to think of one thing that you've done that is so bad you think you need to feel guilty for doing it. And don't worry, we will not share. So just think of it. What do you have in there? And really ask yourself to think about it. Was I looking for love? Was I looking for acceptance, physical affection, healthy attention, or support? And if you didn't get it, did you do something angry or something misguided? Or if you were desperately trying to seek it, did you maybe make a decision you wouldn't have? Or was it just a reaction that you didn't get these things? A lot's going to be lifted off your shoulders when you realize that this stuff that we're seeking, this is what we came here to move through, finding this stuff. Okay, that's why we're all driven. We're all driven by these. We want them so much, right? Human existence is about this. It's about having the drive to find these and then giving ourselves those stares that don't let us have them, so that we develop emotional baggage in ourselves that cause us to do stupid things, so now we can go through and learn our lessons, right? So I want you guys to think about life this way. And I might have mentioned this last time, but I want you to think about how on the earth, we're going to grow this absolutely magnificent plant. If we're going to grow that, we need fertilizer. We're no different. We give ourselves a whole ton of shit so that we can grow this amazing flower. Okay? If we don't have it, like I said, we're just skipping through the tulips. What is this life here for? We're not learning anything. We're just coasting. Right? Or we would have stayed where we were, or incarnated onto a planet that was purposeful for that. And once again, let that resonate with you or not resonate with you. Thoughts, questions, comments? Just see the looks on your face. You guys are like this right now. Yes.
Someone asked me if setting goals was setting yourself up for failure. And my response to that at the time was it depends on your level of testing. But then I thought that there was something better that really taught me failure. So failure, then we stop the illusion of that.
That's beautiful. I'm going to try to articulate that as well as you did so that the people on webinar can hear that. But what he was talking about is that he talked about setting goals and about how setting goals, it was always looked at as a good thing. But when it turns into a bad thing is when we look at it, if you don't reach your goals, you end up looking at it as a failure. And the minute you see the failure and you look at it as a failure, then suddenly you spiral down into it's unproductive.
If you label it.
If you label it.
That's what gets you.
Yes, label it as a failure.
So it's like your heartbeat. You see something that looks like heartbeat. You don't know that those are the cars really. Yeah. But it looks like the heartbeat. Then you stop looking. Stop. That's why labeling it is similar to that. Labeling
Yeah. Okay. And that's a lot of what we do. He said once you put that label on it, it's failure. The same thing here. If you look at these things and say, I was looking for these beautiful things and I didn't find them, or I didn't get them, and now I did these things. Now I'm labeling me as a failure when all you're doing is trying to do something amazing, kind of like setting a goal. Nice analogy. Thank you, Jay. Okay. So this is just that activity that we just did. What I want you to do is I want you to get into your workbook, and I want you to have a little reflection on this in here, how you feel inside here. And I want you to look at the health issues that come along if you're not doing okay in one of these. If you're overindulged, here's overindulged, you're allowing your emotions to completely overrun you, completely control you. Underindulged, you're ignoring them, or you feel way over empowered. You're making your empowerment everyone around you's empowerment. It's everybody, like, let's empower me. Okay, that's an overindulgence. Underindulgence would be you're not empowered at all. Okay, no internal strength. All right, so just take a moment and reflect. What page is that on your workbook? Thank you, page 7. Your pages are going to be a little different, Kathy. So help you. Okay, you're here. So here it is right here. There's stuff in here. So you're just going to take a look and circle kind of, what's going on within your body. And it's going to tell you the addictions, the physical dysfunctions, the balances, the deficient and excessive. So you just kind of circle. Yes. Actually, this is a perfect time for a break. So if anyone needs to take a break, go ahead and do so. That one. And for those of you at the webinar, we're going to change my audio. So it's going to cut out for a moment. Charlie, I'm going to do a quick test. We're all okay? Okay, we're going to get started in just a moment here. Right. Where did this come from? Oh. Oh, don't worry about it. Yeah. That's not the thing for that. Oh, right on our counter. Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to get started. So if you want to come on back in. Okay, so one of the ways to really think about your own personal healing and your own personal growth and your own personal forgiveness and forgiveness of others is to really reflect back on those 5 factors of forgiveness. The more that you can do that, the more that you can really look at what were they seeking, what was I seeking, and go through your internal wisdom and your internal understanding, you're going to end up doing a lot of internal work and a lot of letting go. So the next chakra we have to look at then is the heart. And remember that the heart has 2 different functions. The heart has the lower heart and the higher heart. The lower heart, self-love, okay, higher heart, healing love. So this is all of that thymus gland, which is responsible for your immune system. That's a lot of our healing. One of the really great experiments that someone did when, I don't remember what year this was, but there was a gentleman who was teaching children how to cure their own asthma. And what he did is he said, hey, feel that, tap on your thymus gland right here, the gland that's right here. And he'd be like, okay, I want you to imagine that you're heating it up. Heat it up really big, everybody, these little kids who have asthma. Heat it up really big. Now send that beautiful heat into your lungs and feel how they heal. And send your lungs love. These kids were able to control their own asthma by heating up their personal healing and sending that love into their lungs. When I was curing my hip defects that I had so much pain, I just started sending it love. I would heat it up just like little kids did, and I would imagine this big green ball of love, and I would send all this gooey love of a big jello green shot, like the big jello shots, I'd send that all the way down into my hip, and I'd just feel it love, and I would just send love, and I'd be like, and I would do that throughout the day, and I would think about how my hip being perfectly healed, and it honestly, like I said, 3 days. Week and a half, the whole week was just me convincing myself I can do it. And then it took me 3 days. 3 days. Okay. So we've got 2 different parts of our heart. So first of all, loving yourself. What this loving yourself is loving yourself exactly as you are. It's not conditional. A lot of people say, no, I love who I am. Oh, you love that age of you? Well, no, not that one. Well, what about that one? No, not that one. And what? No. Okay. So you love yourself where? Okay, you can't love the idea of you. You have to love all of you, which means you love your personality traits. You love all of your flaws. You love all of the ages of you, no matter what you've done, because you can look at the 5 factors of forgiveness and figure it out. So here's a big litmus test and a big activity for everyone to do. Go home, take a piece of paper, and write every age that you are of. And look at every age and just say, okay, age 0. Do I know anything? I don't think. Oh, my mom was actually in misery. Oh, she was, oh. Okay, age birth. I don't really remember anything. Oh my God, that's right. My brother was born immediately after me and I was probably losing some attention. But then you can go to these ages, age 5. Oh gosh, okay, that's when my parents got the divorce and I was feeling like this. And go through every age of you. It is the most amazing experience that you can do, because what happens is you realize, first of all, I don't like that one. I don't like that me. Okay, you'll be able to identify it and you'll be able to remember that. Or you'll get into this space of you'll be like, pattern, pattern, pattern. Darn it, there's my karma right in front of me. Black and white. How many times am I going to bring in the same person in my life? My father was then my boyfriend and then my husband and now it's my boss. Darn it. When am I going to learn? Okay, so you can see patterns, but you're also going to see, what do I need to forgive myself for? And guys, seriously, here's an honest reality. Half the time, what you need to forgive yourself for is having the human experience. We are human. We are going to act human. We're going to get mad. We're going to get jealous. We're going to be inappropriate. We're going to make mistakes. Okay, that's part of the human experience. And if you judge yourself for it, then you're expecting yourself to have been born in this life perfect. And nobody was born in this life perfect. We're flawed, remember? For a reason. And what are we doing as far as growth if we didn't have anything to learn? That doesn't even make sense. So when we talk about self-love means you can look at every age and do what I did at 17. I get you. I judged you for so long and I'm so sorry. I love you. I get you and I want to hug you. And you come into my soul right here because I want you as a part of me. I want that. Then you can move into some self-love. It's not an egoic love. It's not, I'm so special, everybody watch out. Me and a bag of chips. Okay? It's that you love you. It means that you're not suffering from low self-esteem, self-doubt, worthlessness, internal guilt or loathing or shame. Okay, and why do we end up dealing with all of these things down here? Because we think we've done something wrong, or that somehow as a human being we're flawed. This is what I honestly thought at one point. I just am innately wrong. There's something innately wrong with me. When I got a divorce, my father said to me, and I love him, he's beautiful, but he said to me, well, this is just like you. Talk about triggering an insecurity. Something innately wrong with me. Of course I would do this. I'm wrong. Somehow I'm bad. You know? He said that because it was his own issue, his own way of dealing with it. Okay? Me? Oh, I went directly to self-loathing. Directly into there's something wrong with me. That wasn't the case for either one of us. Yeah. I didn't label myself or have that as my identity outwardly. Inwardly, it was definitely there. My self-loathing, my worthlessness, my feeling like I was a bad person. I had not consciously brought that out. That's why when my friends triggered me to do that years later, I got divorced at 30, so I was really young. And so it was years later that finally I had to deal with it all. And it wasn't present in all those years. I just did this. I mean, honestly, this is me in those years. Okay? I'm not speaking evil, I'm not hearing evil, I'm not, not seeing it. I was completely blinders on to what was going on down here. I was just functioning. Now, what he's asking is, if somebody said to me now, that's so like you, I would either say, well, that's their opinion, or I'd be like, yeah, isn't it? I'm awesome, right? Okay, so it just depends on what the circumstances are. But honestly, I take very little personal these days. It's not a trigger anymore. And it wouldn't be a trigger. Like, there are things that used to trigger me all the time. I don't get triggered. I mean, I get triggered, but not like I did, not like on everything. You know, it's just very little that triggers me today. You know, and you just kind of end up with this. That's what I said. Your scares go from this to this. You know, you get those little blips where you get triggered on something that you're like, oh, I got triggered. What did I get triggered for? What do I have to clear? Oh, I got to clear that. Darn it. I was done with that. Okay, we'll go back to the drawing board and kind of clear some more. All right, so that's how you react today, you know. No, because I realize that that's pointless. So we're given the ego and we're given the pituitary glands for us to get into it. But what happens is we can't get rid of those two things, and we don't want to either. We still want the human experience. But what happens is that they don't impact us the same way. They don't impact us in this way where we're directing self-loathing and guilt and shame and awfulness on ourselves. It's kind of like we can move into our wisdom because we moved out of, and I'll talk about this in a minute, the pituitary gland into the pineal, where all of a sudden we're open up to our wisdom. And our wisdom can help us understand, here you are having a human experience, this big, bad, ugly that just came into your life, that's beautiful. How do you want to react to it? I'm not going to go into self-loathing. I'm not going to go into anger. I'm not going to go into pain. I'm not going to go into this. I'm going to take it. Kind of like this whole experience that I've been going on with this abdomen. It was 3 nights this week where I was in excruciating pain. And I just sat there going, okay, we're going to be okay. We'll be okay. I'll wake up tomorrow and I'm going to go on. Okay? It's not, oh, you're holding something. Now what is it? It's, oh, you're holding something. What do we need to work through? Yeah. Of course, they tend to tell us. But this one's a little stubborn. So, yeah, this involves more than just me. So it's a biggie. But I'm moving through, and it's going to be beautiful at the other end. Right, Valerie? She's been helping me with it. Yeah.
And again, not to identify with you. And you're observer that you're still having triggered all the time. You're experiencing the rest of your life, but from that observer of that you feel versus you being still. Yeah. And then you're able to know that because the trigger happened and you step back.
Yeah.
Said, okay, I see this, and why is it connect? So you become the observer of that, you work through, you understand it, and then you're able to kind of move on. And it'll still come up, it's never going to go away. But you're no longer identified.
Yes, she put that in such a great way. I'm not sure if those of you who are listening heard that, but she talked about how when the ego does surface and when those type of experiences do surface, that you actually become the observer of it. And so you'll kind of step back from the situation and you observe it as the human experience. And that is exactly what happens, exactly. The thing that I also want to caution you about is not to beat yourself up when you get in the human experience. You are going to get mad. You are going to get triggered. You're not going to avoid that in this lifetime. I don't care how guru you think you are. Heck no. And, you know, and I remember doing that. I remember feeling bad and guilty because I reacted to someone and I was really mad at them and I told them how mad I was. And then I was like, oh, you're awful. You trained on this and look what you did. You know, okay, well, yeah, I was triggered. Yeah, I was mad. Yeah, what they said pissed me off. And then I just have to go, oh. All right, well, I got to learn a little bit more. And you go on and you learn it, but you don't beat yourself up for it. Thank you. Mm-hmm. So when we think about the heart, first of all, I want you guys to get into the workbook again. I want you, first of all, before we move on to these other 2 exercises with the heart chakra, I want you really to get in there and I want you to examine what are the health issues that I maybe have going on. I think I mentioned last time, what did I have when I didn't love myself? I gave myself asthma. I gave myself fibromyalgia. My wrist, right here, 6 bones taken out. My hip bone put in here. These are extensions of your heart chakra. Your hands, your arms. It's just heart growing out, okay? So I want you to look at the physical ailments and look at the addictions and look at what could be going on within your body and just do a little reflection. That would be page 8 in your workbook.
You know what I find is look at this, and I can
go back and forth between all of them at different points in my life.
Yes, it can be very circumstantial. It really can. And so, but the one thing to look at is to say, you know, you can look at each situation and say, what do I need to heal in that situation? And what do I need to heal in that situation? Or you might look at them and you might see that there's a cluster in one of them. So that's a really good way to look at it. Is there any clustering that I have there, or do I need to actually go back and heal a particular situation? Make sense? Okay. Does anybody need a little more time? A little bit? So we're just going to start to move on. You can come back to this in a moment if you're still completing it. But what I want you to think about is I want you to think about what you love about you. And I really want you to think about that. What do I love about me? You know, what is it about you that you're like, you know what, I really like this in me. I like that I'm like this. And you know, there are obviously things that you're going to have to examine personally about what you don't like, because if there are things that you don't like, there's going to be some major movement that you have to do. Katie and I'm trying to think if there was anyone else in this room who was at that workshop. Do you remember the workshop that we went to on loving yourself, on loving your physical body? And I can tell you that when we were in that workshop together, I found everything wrong with my physical body. My hair was too thin, my smile is crooked, my legs are too short, I have too white of skin, the list went on and on and on and on and on and on. And I think I explained to some of you that I had gone through this experience this year where I ended up for 2 months working on that body image and looking at, I have to love me. I have to love every part of me, not just the beautiful piece in here. I worked so much on that. I loved who I was inside, but I hated the physical body. And I had to really look at it. And so finally, after 2 months of really digging in there and saying, I have to love me. I have to like that I've gained 15 pounds. I have to like that, you know, whatever it is. And I finally one day just got to this moment where I was just like, wow, I love you. I love you crooked smile, and I love you thin hair, and I love your white skin, and I love everything. I love you. And I truly meant it. And this is not typical by any means, but I ended up in the hospital, and I ended up throwing up and high fever and all of this kind of stuff, detoxifying. And I'm asking my guys, what is going on with me? What is happening? And they said, Kelly, you have had that body image issue for so long. Did you think it wasn't going to hurt to get rid of? And I woke up the next day 11 pounds lighter, and I have stayed. It just shed. It's so odd, I know. It's not the typical. But, you know, this is that whole piece where if we don't learn to love ourselves exactly as we are, we're not going to change or grow or flower into something that we love, or that we would have loved before we said we loved ourselves. So take a moment, and I want you to get into page 9. And I want you just to reflect about what do you love about you. Okay. What I'm going to have you do is just kind of come back, and I would like you to do is just talk to any partner in the room. It doesn't matter who that is, and if you're at home, you can take a break or talk to your spouse or children and tell them exactly what you love about you. And I want you to also talk to them about what you perceive is not to love about you. So talk about those two things. Grab any partner at all. It take just 5 minutes on this, so just a few minutes about sharing with yourselves. You may have to go to about 5 or 10. I'll check in. Well, the only thing that I'm thinking about is
Well, no, I know. And
such a second day.
well, the big part is, and I was kind of unfortunate from like,
I mean, honestly, if I could think of maybe it was with somebody else to come in, but that's just not fair. I would just take a risk. You don't come in just after nothing. I mean, if you wanted to between that, I mean, would you need to play through? Because at least you can get her started and let her know that. Okay, let's start to come on back. Okay, any comments, questions, or just reactions to doing that activity with someone? I just said comments, reactions to doing that with a partner. What? Thought it was great? You like talking about yourself? It is fun to talk about yourself. Yeah, I love that. All right. So we're going to be coming back to, obviously, the heart chakra a lot through this and about the concepts of the heart chakra as we learn to forgive and let go. So the next chakra we have to deal with is your throat chakra. This is all about speaking your truth. And this throat chakra actually has a couple different phases that it goes through. The first phase is speaking your truth to yourself, okay? And that is the biggest phase that we need to go through. Because we always have these truths that we need to say to ourselves. And honestly, I'll tell you guys, the whole purpose of this existence is not for people out here. And we talked a little bit about that last time. It's not for this. You came here to get in here. Okay? And so if you can't speak your truth to yourself, I'm going to show you what happens. All of that truth that you got right here turns around and you vomit it on everyone around you. You're like this. Anytime you say you're like that to anyone, guess what you're trying to do? I'm like that. You are a manipulative, nasty person. Here's what I really need to look at. You know, and it's not that you're necessarily manipulative and nasty, but maybe you need to look at some other truth. I brought that in for a reason. I need to see that. Or that's reflecting me. You know, what is it? Or, wow, that's a pattern. That was the same person who that one was, and that one was, and that one was, and that one was. Oh. So what's your truth? So don't project your truth out here. Project it here. It's also, though, about speaking your truth to others. It is about standing your ground. It is about being a good self-advocate. And I'll tell you something about that, standing your ground and being a good self-advocate. There are many people in this lifetime who are very afraid of confrontation, and that is not comfortable for them at all. They're introverts. They prefer to stay that way, and they don't like it when there's something that they have to say, which means that they would be standing up for themselves. We have a really beautiful friend of ours, Daniel, who had an experience with this that was so perfect. He had gone up to the Ojai Foundation, and he was going up there on a day. They were having some kind of a retreat up there. And you know how on retreat days you can still go walk the ground. You just are respectful of those who are in retreat. And so he was up there, and he was down at the main office area, and he was talking to someone. And this guy from the retreat came to him, and he said, "You can't be here." He's like, "We're having a retreat." And he was really kind of nasty to him. And he's like, No, I'm not doing anything. I'm not interrupting your retreat. You know, and he didn't say, "I know I can still walk the ground." He just was like, "No, I'm not getting in your way," you know, and he's like, you need to leave. And he's like, "Okay," you know, and kept talking to this guy. And because he didn't leave right away, the guy came back and he started giving it to him again. And he was like, really, like, you know, okay, I'm going. And he left. And as he was driving away, he's like, I all of a sudden sat there and I was realizing I felt really sick and uncomfortable about that whole thing. And he's like, what is it that made me feel sick and uncomfortable? And he realized I did not at all stand up for what I knew was right. I did not at all stand up as an advocate for myself. I let that guy trample all over me, and I knew that it wasn't right. And we talked about how he doesn't like to get into conflict. but he didn't have to make it confrontational. He didn't have to say, hey, look, dude, I know I can stay here. You know, there's a difference between standing up for yourself in conflict, and there's a way to say, I can see that you're really upset, and I will respect that you really are wanting me to be gone, but I'm going to have to tell you that I know that the rules are this. I have a right to be here. I can walk the ground, you know, but I can see that it's upsetting you, so I will gladly leave. You know, or gladly not. You know, but it doesn't have to be confrontation. It doesn't have to be nastiness that you're putting at someone, but it's still standing in your own truth and standing in what it is that you believe. When people have, you know, there are certain people, when you say something to them, they're going to react with a reaction. I have a client I work with where she needs to be an advocate to her mother. That she knows every time she does, her mother's going to go into a tyrant, and then everything is about her. And look at what you've done to me. I can't believe I birthed you. You know? And so she's like, I can't say anything to her. I said, really? But you know that reaction is going to come. Is that your reaction? Are you creating that? No, it's her. So let her do her little dance and her number, and know that the dance and the number is going to come every time you say something. But you have to stand in your truth. And so she stood in her truth with her mom. And I got the most beautiful text from her the next day about how it went. She told her mom, I'm not going to take your negativity. I love you, but you cannot call me. You cannot shoot your negativity at me. I'm going to end the conversation with you. And she started in on her whole tyrant. She said, okay, I'll talk to you later. Okay? And she stood in her truth. No confrontation. Her mom got the picture after a couple more times of realizing she was going to stand in her truth no matter what. You can have your tantrum. You can get mad. You can react any way you want to me, but I have to stand in my truth. Okay? That's essential for everyone. Doesn't have to be nasty. Other piece then, once you speak your truth to you and you're a good self-advocate, which means you're empowered here to be an advocate for yourself. When you're in that space and you do enough letting go, suddenly what happens is that you can speak a higher truth. Our next one is to talk about the pineal. And when we allow the truth to come in here, we're not projecting anything out into the world here. We're really listening to our truth here. Suddenly, we get a higher wisdom that comes in. That wisdom that comes from being a beautiful soul who understands that everyone on this earth is having a journey just like mine. I don't have to react to it. I don't have to get mad by it. I don't have to get triggered by it. And if I do, I can still love myself. I can still forgive myself. Okay? There's that different truth. What I want you to do is I want you to, first of all, think about a few things with this. When we are not speaking our truth to ourselves, we speak it to others in the form of judgment. And I want you to think about judgment. And I want you to look at the next worksheet. And I want you to go to, I think it's page 11. Page 11. And I want you just to speak some truth to yourself. Look at the different judgments that you have, either about yourself or about others, and just complete that page. When you're done with that page, I believe it's page 10, is where you're going to go in and correct? Yes. So page 10 and 11. Page 10 is where I want you to look at the health issues concerned with your throat chakra. Page 11 is the judgment of others. So go ahead and complete both pages, 10 and 11. With details. Maybe we call him tonight and give it a try. I'm ready for that. crazy. Okay. And just tell her, I think you could tell her she's welcome, that you know that that's the situation. Well, I can give her some, I can pull stuff and have her. I've already gave her a couple of different things she can do. But maybe just let her know. Does anyone need more time? Yes? Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and come on back. Any thoughts, questions, reactions on filling out either of those pages? Once again, I've got the puzzled looks around the room, which means that you're doing a lot of internal speculation. At least I hope. All right. So let's talk about the next chakra right here, third eye. Okay. Third eye. Wow. Lots to talk about on this one. The third eye is actually a physical gland. And I do want to make sure that everyone understands that. Within our brain, if this is our brain, right here is where the eye connects, the eyeball connects. So those who are on video, if you take a look to the left of your screen, you're going to see a little cavity with little tendrils coming out. That's where the eye socket is. If we take a look just below there, that's where the bridge of the nose would be, about right here, okay? Right behind the bridge of the nose, you've got this little bean-shaped gland right here, and it's called your pituitary. If we go back behind the eye, right here, this is your pineal gland. This is a blow-up of the pineal gland next to it. The pineal gland is hollow, and it is fluid-filled, and it has photoreceptors just like your eyeball. Your eyeball sees because energy enters in, okay? It enters in the photoreceptors, which are all over the outside of your eyeball on the inside. okay, all around the edge, there we go, the outer edge of your eyeball on the inside. They will pick up vibration. So if it's a low vibration that comes in, it'll see something like red. If it's a high vibration that comes, it'll see something like a pastel or a white, okay? So these different vibrations will be picked up by the cones and rods. And so your eye will put them all together into an image, and we have an ocular lens in front, so it projects an image out. That's how we're seeing. It also, the cones and rods will also pick up depth perception. So between the depth perception, based on the vibration again, how long does it take that vibration to reach my eye, and what color is it? That vibration is being picked up so that you can see depth and you can see color. When we have our third eye also has, it is a physical third eye. It has photoreceptors just like your eyeball. Why do you need photoreceptors in the middle of your head? Anyone want to take a gander? Where you see dreams, actually it is. What else? Why would you need a third eye? And why would you have an eye in the center of your head? Nope, that's more of the ears, actually. Why would you need to see? What's that? For kick? Nope. It's called psychicness or clairvoyance. We all have intuition. We all have gut feelings. We all have that ability. So if everybody says, I'm totally not psychic, I'm totally not clairvoyant, oh, liar, pants on fire, you can't help it any more than you have arms and legs. Okay, we all have it. We all have this intuition in our head. Now, let me explain how this works. Energy will enter in through the temples. It will enter in through the front of the head here. It will enter in through the crown of the head, right where you had your little soft spot when you were a baby, okay? So if you take these points right here and you meet them together in the center, that's where your pineal gland is, okay? Right behind the eyes, about a centimeter behind the eye sockets in the center. Energy will enter here, in through the eyes, in through here, and in through here. And it will enter into that pineal gland in the center of your head. How does your brain interpret it? Well, let's talk about that. The pineal gland has multiple functions. It releases melatonin so you can sleep. It releases melatonin so you can get peaceful and relax and meditate. It releases serotonin, the good mood elevator. It releases dimethyltryptamine, DMT, which they call the spirit molecule, because if they give it to you in a chemical form, you'll go on a 15-minute trip to the other world. Okay, well, here's what really happens. Dimethyltryptamine will activate a portion of your brain that is very inactive in many individuals. And that portion of the brain is activated so that you can interpret the vibrations coming into your head. You can interpret the noise, or you can interpret the messages from guides. You can interpret the messages that are everywhere in this room. Every body carries messages. Every room carries messages. The earth carries messages, you know, everything does. Objects carry messages. Okay, everything has a vibration. And inside of that flower of life that we saw in the biophotons in our being carry all of our information. Just like all of the biophotons out here carry all of the information of life, of plants, of universe. So when I sit down and I'm going to read a client and he's sitting in front of me and I wanted to find out what's going on, I'll just look at him. And all of a sudden I just receive, I open up and I receive the vibrations coming in. Your body speaks to me just like you do. The body will tell on you. It'll tell about the emotions you're holding. It'll tell about, you know, information that you hold in your body. I'll actually see pictures of the memories in your body. That all happens because all of your little biophotons can't be contained in your body. So they just float out of your body. You know, everybody's receiving everybody's information in here. Okay? And you may be open to your clairvoyance with it, or you may not be. But here's what's happening. You're all receiving it. And so there are things that you're going to know about each other, but you won't know why you know it. You're going to know, wow, they're really unhappy, but you have no idea why. Or you're going to, somebody can walk in and you'll be like, oh, don't trust that guy. Going across the room over here. Okay? You don't know why you don't trust them, but you don't. The biophotons are coming in. It's a gut feeling. Gut feeling are instincts. Instincts is clairvoyance. Clairvoyance is psychicness. Okay? Angelique does amazing, amazing work with readings. She does intuitive readings all the time. You want a great reading? Come to her here. She's fabulous. What is she doing? She's opening up her pineal gland. She's allowing her chatter to get out of the way, and she's letting it come in, and then she just speaks what comes in. Is that accurate? Mm-hmm. That's all it is. Okay? It's a tool. The pineal gland is also a place where we listen to our wisdom, and we listen to our higher self, and we listen to all the things that we're here to learn about. Okay? When we are here in the pituitary gland or here, and we center our thinking here, we're thinking in this area of our brain. This is your frontal cortex. Okay? Your frontal cortex is responsible for logical sequential thinking. It's responsible for language and talking and problem solving. Oh, but it's also responsible for chatter, 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 chatter. Judgment, judgment, judgment. You're not good enough. All that kind of stuff, okay? So when we're up in here and we're chatter, chatter, chattering, or we're just in logic, there are a few things that are happening. First of all, you're triggering this gland. So you're triggering adrenaline and cortisol, chatter, chatter, adrenaline, cortisol, chatter, chatter, adrenaline, cortisol. Okay, making you what? Miserable. What happens when you are in here too much? You are not triggering this gland. So you're not sleeping well because you're not releasing melatonin. You're not happy. You're getting into depression, anxiety. Let's just give that kid Ritalin. No, just get him out of his head. Okay? Let him learn how to relax and meditate. Let him do some art or something creative. Okay? He needs to get out of there. The other thing that happens when we're not here is we're not relaxing. We're not getting peaceful. We're not getting meditative because we're too much in chatter. When we have cortisol running in our body is like a shock wave. Ah! Okay? What happens when we're in shock waves? Did you ever know that if you're in deep stress, you almost can't take a deep breath? When I was a principal, I was under such stress. I remember going to a breath work class, and this one was trying to teach us to breathe deep, and she's like, oh, God. She's like, where are you breathing from? Put a sticker where you're breathing. She's like, yeah, you can't take a deep breath down here, can you? No. Because I was releasing so much cortisol in my body. My body was in such shock and stress, and I wasn't taking those deep breaths, so I was never getting out of my head. Okay? So huge to have balance here. We do need the pituitary gland. First of all, we're having the earthly existence. If we don't have the pituitary gland, we won't have fear, which means that we won't have fear about anything. We'll just walk in front of a bus and think that's okay. Okay, not a good idea. We do need the pituitary. All right? We also do have stress in our lives. We have good stress. Okay, and we do need that cortisol or that adrenaline at times. We do need that cortisol at times, but we need balance. When I learned to become a very different person, when I learned to stop thinking here, I call this crunchy thought. Stop all the crunchy thought. It's a technical term. And I started to get into here, and I started to open up here and just let my head do this and just open up without chatter and get into that place where, oh, wow. I allow myself to not project things, even if my eyes are open. I'm not projecting anything out here. I'm just receiving. My sight turns into 360-degree ball of receiving inside of my head, and then I can receive all these messages and all this clairvoyance and all this wisdom. Amazing. Both of my parents are geniuses. So my father's immense, and my mom is also a certified genius. And I thought we were pretty smart in our family, right? Yeah, we got it going on up there in that head. Yeah. I had no idea how smart you can be until I got out of logical thinking. Okay? When I got into this thinking, it is so much more intelligent. This thinking here, there is a step-by-step linear process to it. Here's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. If I want to tell you guys something, I have to use all my words, and they're really long. Okay? When I get into this thinking, and I'm receiving messages from your body or messages from guides, here's what I get. It is multidimensional thinking, not linear. It is multidimensional. You'll agree with this. You get pictures, and you get words, and you get feelings, and you get understanding immediately, massive amounts of understanding immediately. And they will also tell you how this is related to this, and this is related to this. Wow, cool. That was good. And then somebody says, well, how did you know that? I don't have enough words to explain how I knew that. I can't use this archaic tool here. And it is a monkey brain. It is archaic to be stuck in this part of your brain all the time. And what do we teach kids? To get into logic. To get out of creativity. Crunchy thoughts. We teach them crunchy thoughts. And then we wonder why half of them are on Ritalin and the other half are on depression medication. Okay? So anyway, we've got this thought that's going on here, and it is keeping us in a miserable place. It is keeping us from our true intelligence, which is when you open up. And I will tell you honestly, I think about 90% of my life I'm here. You know, I basically come out when I need to do math or come up with a flow chart. That is so true. Yeah, imagination is more important than knowledge. He knew. Einstein has so many quotes about clairvoyance. It's actually uncanny how many he has. So because he understood, when you learn to think from here, the information is all there. We're starting this integrated health system. Do you know how Charlie and I brought that in? We didn't think about it. We brought it in. We allowed it to come in. All that information has always been there. We're just tapping in and opening up and letting it in, right? So the one thing I want you to think about is, what am I doing to myself here? Am I keeping myself here? Am I keeping myself in this logic sequential? Here's the other thing. Worry, fear, worry, fear, worry, fear. Okay, do you know the front of you is for your future, and the back of you is your history. That's what the energy holds in your body, okay? So I just call this jumping in and out of the fear pool. So here's jumping into the fear pool in your history. Oh my God, I can't believe my mom did that to me. That was really awful. I'm still struggling from it. They're awful people. They're terrible. Oh my God, I want to judge them and I hate them. Oh my God, I'm never going to get over this. Oh my God, my family has history of cancer. I'm going to get cancer. I'm going to get cancer. Now I'm jumping into my future. What if I get cancer? Now I'm in this kind of worry. Oh my God. Here's another worry that I have in my future. What if I don't have money to pay my bills? What if they doesn't come? Oh my God, what if I don't have enough for retirement? What will happen then? Good God. Shush. Here's what I've got. This moment right here, all I've got is this. That's all I've got. And I know that my body, and we're going to talk about this in a moment, is manifesting everything I'm chattering about. So if I'm all worried about cancer, worried about it in my history, worried about it in my future, what am I going to get? Cancer. Basically, you're saying to the universe, hey, cancer, 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 cancer. They don't know negatives and positives. They just hear cancer. Cancer! Hey, how did I get cancer? You know? Here's the other thing you know about here. Our bodies are meant to regenerate themselves, okay? Absolutely meant to regenerate themselves. We are born with this stuff called yin, okay? It's called essence. It's this beautiful fulfillment that we're born with. It's energy, full energy. And what happens is that this keeps us at a high vibrating rate. We're going to talk about this in a moment too. Level 500 vibration. Just imagine a 500 vibration. That's a beautiful love, joy, bliss vibration, okay? I'm born into this full essence, full vibration. And then what happens over time is I get into these negative spaces. Life happens. And it's supposed to. So remember how I told you that when you go through negative experiences in your life, you will actually create an overproduction of electrons, okay? And when you create an overproduction of electrons, those are negative. You're at a level 500. Vibration and full essence. And then all of a sudden something happens. And what happens? Oh, I decreased my vibration because I now have 20 extra electrons. Oops, I'm now a 560 or 580. I can add. And then what happens to your essence? You sleep. And then what happens? More life experiences and more life experiences and more life experiences and more. And so for me, I get into a pretty low essence. I was down in 20-30ville. I was down on guilt and shameville. Okay, depleted my essence, because what was happening, I wasn't rejuvenating myself. Had I been in here, instead of you're bad and you're wrong and you're awful and I can't believe you're like that and you have this to feel bad for and that to feel bad for, chatter, 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 they don't like me, they don't like me, they don't like me. Instead of that, if I had been here and have just opened up, I would have had energy flowing into my body, okay, through my chakras, increasing the vibration, letting things move, filling my essence. What happens when we're in our pituitary gland is this. All of the energy that needs to go like this in your body, suddenly doing this. Okay? Nothing's getting in my body. It's all projecting out in the world. So now I can't blame me for anything or look at me. I'm looking at you and it's all your fault and look at it's all you. No, I hate the life and you're awful. Look at Illuminati. You know, and I get all upset about things out here. Where if I just stopped and started to examine in me what's going on and started to let the energy back in here, suddenly it's not about the world out there, it's about me. And not in the egoic way. I came here to learn about me. So being in the pineal becomes essential. You can rejuvenate your body. You can rejuvenate you. You can get into a place of growth and understanding and wisdom. The other thing is, your guides cannot communicate with you through here. It is physically impossible. You're not activating your pineal. You're not activating or releasing dimethyltryptamine so that you can activate the portion of your brain that can hear them. You're stuck here. Make sense? Okay. So your guides want you to get out of your head. And only when you're ready. There's no guilt or shame if you haven't done it in you're 80 years old. It doesn't matter. When you're ready, you're ready. When you get out there, you're going to be like, hey, we can talk to her. And suddenly, if you stay there long enough, so much develops for you. I gave you a sheet in here that is talking about, there we go, your clairs. And it's not page 13 in your workbook. I forgot to take that out. We all have clairvoyance of some kind or other, but I do want to tell you this. Clairvoyance is like an athletic ability. We all have arms and we all have legs, right, in this room? We can all run and we can all walk. Are we all supposed to be superstars? No. It depends on what your life purpose is. It depends on what you're here to learn or what you're here to go through. It also depends on the age of your soul. So you may have these very, very, very developed, or you may not. But everyone can develop them more. Just like I can become a better runner with practice. I can become a better thrower with practice. Okay, I don't practice. That's why when I throw it lands in front of me. That's really great projection that I have. Okay, you can develop. And so the first step toward developing any clairvoyance or anything that you want to perceive more is to get out of the head and get into this. So this is just for your information. You can look that over anytime that you want to. But what I do want to just point out a couple of big things with clairvoyance. If you are someone who is supposed to be using your clairvoyance in this lifetime and you're not, you will have issues. You will have sinus issues. You will have migraines. You will have head issues. Yeah, you will have inner ear issues. Inner ear is a lot throat, actually. Yeah, it actually does say that throat. But you're going to find a lot of particularly sinus, eye troubles, things like that. So it really is about looking at where am I thinking from. So take a look at your workbook page, and I want you to look at the health issues that come along with not having a balanced third eye. You're going to just complete this with, yeah, that one. You're basically just looking at the same thing you've been doing the other time. You're looking at the health issues that are going on with you. Yeah, if you're done looking at the health issues, take a look at the next page. That's all the information that I gave you on clairvoyance. And I do hold workshops on helping you to develop your clairvoyance. So if that's of interest, let Charlie know and we'll schedule one. That's a huge, yeah. And actually, I would consider that because that sounds like an investor. And yeah, I would definitely consider it. But otherwise, the pressure and the tingling up here, yeah, it's huge. Yeah. Especially when it's like you open glue. Anyone need more time? Okay, for the sake of time, I'm going to keep going then. We are going to end with the meditation on getting you into your pineal because we're getting a little short on time and I really wanted to get you into some of the other things tonight. I do want to point out that the crown of the head is not technically a chakra. Okay, it's an opening. We don't have the myofascial band up there, but it is considered an energy center. But it is where you receive. So it's a place to receive, an opening to receive intuition, abundance, love, messages, energy. It's your connection to your higher source energy because you're allowing it in. Okay? That's why they always show the top of the head not as an energy center, as a 1,000-petaled lotus. That's why that's there. It's actually an opening. So one of the things to think about is how all of these things then affect each other. How do all of these different chakras, they're just explanations of the chakras, how do they all affect each other? Well, think about this, and let's just kind of go through a little understanding of that. If you were born and you've got family experiences where you didn't build trust and you didn't have a lot of love and you didn't have a lot of nurturing, then you're going to struggle with this next chakra. This next chakra, are you feeling comfortable and safe expressing you as you? Probably not. If you're not able to express yourself as you and you had all the issue going on in childhood, you probably got all kinds of emotional triggers going on in here, right? You develop these purposely, but you got them. What happens then when you got all those emotional triggers and you can't express yourself as you and you're struggling with your foundation, you don't love yourself. What happens when you don't love yourself? Well, then you're in a lot of chatter right here, keeping yourself right here. You're bad, you're this, you're blah, shutting off the third eye. Well, you can't shut it off, but you're not going to be developing it well, and you're not going to hear your wisdom, and you're going to start projecting everything into your world out here. Wow. Where do we need to start? Wow. We need to really balance these lower three chakras in a very healthy way. Once we do that, we speak our truth here. We won't be speaking this truth, judgment. We're going to speak a truth that is, wow, I can forgive myself. I can love myself. I can accept myself. I don't have to have the foundation of my parents. I don't have to have their belief that this is how life is. I can change that. I have control. I break down into nothing but my own physicality. My own physicality is my consciousness. Any of my health issues, I just have to look at where they're coming from. They'll go away. So just kind of keep in mind that that's why I actually take the time with the chakras and go beyond your third eye is purple and it's this. We have to know about it. We have to understand it. What is going on with it? How do we treat it? So I'm going to move you into, we are going to save time. Will you let me know when it's about 25 after? Okay. So for the next 10 minutes, I want to get you into something real quick that's going to start to set you up for next time so that we can get in. I wanted you guys to be able to really get into your own stuff. I forgot how long the chakras take. All right. So let's talk a little bit about your physicality. And I want to talk about how do thoughts and emotions affect your fascia, which are your energy centers, which are your chakras. Okay? First of all, remember that fascia is fluid-filled, right? 60% of you is made of fascia. Energy moves through your fascia because of your thoughts and feelings, right? When you think it, it's moving. When you intend it, it will. Energy cannot be contained in the body. It's floating out of you and going into everyone around you. 70 to 80% of your body is made of water, and your water impacts the health of your body. Kind of keep these facts in mind, this information in mind. So what happens with our fascia then, and how does that affect our health? Because negative emotions, negative thoughts, negative self-image, negative projected images will do what to your fascia? It will bunk it. When you get, yeah, that's the other technical term. So when you get gunky fascia because of crunchy thoughts, you're going to end up with a lot of pain in the body. All right? So your thoughts and emotions actually move energy through the body and affect your fascia, or it will not move energy through the body. Remember how we looked at how you break down into those little points of light, and those little points of light carry all of your information, and that's called energy, and that energy is flowing through all of your fascia. You can see then why there's this stuckness in there, because that's my thought that I'm stuck right here with. I can't tell you how many clients I've worked with where they're like, I got this pain right here. Whatever you're doing, you're holding here, but I got it right here. That's where it's stuck. That's where it's stuck. And we have to really go into the pain. What's there? Ooh. Okay, let's release it. Oh. And just let the pain go. No, that pain is there for a reason. You built it there. That's you. That's your stuck fascia in there. How many of you have seen this? Okay. This is a study done by Dr. Masaru Emoto. And what he did is he actually took water from a polluted dam and where it was the Fujiwara Dam in Japan. And what he did is he took the initial water and he examined it, he froze it, the water molecule, and put it under a microscope and looked at it. And this is what it looked like. It looked like a sick little disease. He took the same water and he said some prayers. Okay? So this is not the same one, it's a different one, but he did that, oh no, this one was the same dam. Okay. So he took that, he said prayer on it. The same molecule of water, okay, when he said prayer on it, turned into this. A big difference. Beautiful sacred geometry, beautiful perfection, gorgeous color, thick vibration, thick feeling. He then started taking water samples and he would take words or place intention on the bottles of water. This one said thank you on the outside and the intention was thank you. This one was I hate you, you make me sick. This one was I love you. We've got sickness in the middle. I hate you, you make me sick. And we've got the diseased one. And then all of that turns beautiful, the same water turns beautiful through our intentions. If you think of your body and you're 60% fascia and you're 70 to 80% water, and you are thinking bad thoughts, like when my hip was out of function, when I did this, oh, you hurt, I hate you, it hurt more. Okay, I created more pain. So when I was treated it like a beautiful child, I know that you hurt, and I'm so sorry, but it's okay. I love you. You're going to be okay. And I would just send shots of love, build my love and joy and bliss and green bells. And then the pain would increase slightly, and then it just went away. And it was like that every single time, and I did that like 20 times a day until it went away. Think about your body. What are you doing to it? When I would look in the mirror, be like, your gut is so fat. I hate you, fat. Well, then the fats fade. It's like, well, really? Fine. It could be in your face. Okay, and then I loved it. And I was like, I love you. And I genuinely loved it. I didn't just say the words. Like, I really loved it. And I said, I accept you. All of a sudden, it just went away. So just keep that in mind with your body. I want to talk a little bit about how you operate from as a whole then. And I want you to think about all the chakras that you analyzed and what you're feeling about yourself. And I want you to ask yourself, where are my chakras? What is my vibrational level in each of these? Are they high or are they low? What am I holding? Am I holding resentment here because of all the non-nurturing I got? Am I not able to express myself? Do I not even like my personality? Do I not accept my traits? Do you remember my double-edged sword? And I want you to think about your overall energetic signature. How many of you have seen this chart before? Well, if you're a client of mine, you probably have. So this chart is created by David R. Hawkins. And what he did is he took a look at the human consciousness, what we operate from. Do we operate from shame or guilt or hatred or apathy or grief or fear or desire, blah? Okay? And he gave it a scale. I want you to notice that love and joy and peace are up here at 500 to 600. Woo, woo. You want to see where I was? Oh, right there. Right there. Okay, that's a far cry from 500 to 600. You will have an energetic signature that you operate from. And it will operate from any of these types of things down here, depression, fear, will I have this? Will I not have that? What if that happens? You're jumping in the fear pool all the time. Desire means I need that car, I need that wife, I need that boyfriend, I need that job, I need that to be secure. And if I don't have those desires, I'm not okay. We know what anger is. Pride means, obviously we know what that means. It's that, everybody say how great I am. If you could all be like me. Okay? It creates a lot of judgment. Okay? This is called the critical level of integrity, this line of integrity. So what happens is that when you can jump yourself over this, which you have done or you would not be in this workshop. Okay, how many of you had somebody you wanted to come with you but were like, yeah, they're not ready for this? okay? Spouses, boyfriends, brothers, sisters, moms, okay? They wouldn't be ready, okay, because they're still stuck. But when you're ready, you'll get in the courage. Courage means you have the courage to examine that you are a soul having a human experience. You have the courage to look at this life beyond the veils. The veils are that this life is it. This is what it's all about. We're here, then we die and go to dust and create a tree. Great. Okay, but your soul lives on. You've got the courage to look at that this is a classroom. You've got the courage to look at the fact that you purposely came here. It takes a lot of courage. And when you start to do that enough, you actually move and you start to get this willingness to let go. You also get into this space of neutrality. Oh, I'm not sure what I believe anymore. I now see that the veils are done and I'm the soul having a human experience. Well, what does this mean? Now what do I do? And then you get into this willingness to really examine you, examine your stuff. And when you let go and go through this experience of willingness to let go and willingness to examine enough, suddenly you get into acceptance. Acceptance that you are a divine, perfect, beautiful being just as you are. All of the things you thought you did wrong, all of your supposed faults, all of your supposed ugliness, all of life's experiences, it's perfect. You chose it. It developed you. And then you can get into this acceptance that, you know what, I am as beautiful, I am as powerful as source energy. That means I can heal my hips. That means that I can heal my wounds. That means that I can learn to love myself. It means that I can manifest money. It means that I can do these things. Okay? You then get into that space where you open up the pineal. When you open up that pineal enough and you live from that space enough because you know that you can, all of a sudden, reason takes over, which is the reason of wisdom. I think I explained to you that my guides have taught me sacred geometry through my mind's eye, like I had a blackboard in front of me. The intelligence that's there is ridiculous. You just have to open to it. After that, you get into love and you get into joy and peace, and I have not been in enlightenment, but I'm sure I'll get there in one of these lifetimes. 80 to 85% of human beings living on Earth are baby and infant souls. That was the quote that was given before December 12th. 2000 or December 21st, 2012. I'll explain that in a moment. 80 to 85%. This earth vibrates at an existence that assists baby and infant souls moving through their experiences. It doesn't mean that you're all baby and infant souls, but it's primarily created for it. And I want you to think about human beings in our society. Human beings in our society are when you're a baby or an infant, it's all about me, right? I'm important, mom, see me, right? Standing on the, I see perform, okay? So what do we do in our society as baby and infant souls? We create importance. We create money so that I have more than you. We create degrees so that I can be smarter than you. We create positions so that I can be better. We create stratify society so that I can show you how much more important I am. When we create art, we put our name on it, not because it's bad, but, you know, because I did that. My book has my name on it. Yeah, I didn't need to put my name on it, but I do. I still have the ego. Okay? So this is, we do this. We create this life here for this. So we incarnate here to either because we are a baby or infant soul, which is not there's no bad or wrong or anything with that. You would never look at yourself and go, oh my God, I can't believe you're only 8. You know, when you're a soul, same thing. You don't do that. You're just going through your growth. Okay? And so you either incarnate because you've got stuff to learn, or you incarnate along with because you've got stuff to learn from them, from this society that was built for this. Okay? All right. Enough said. Okay. Whew, my guides. And I also read in a couple of different books. I think that it's an orange book with a sun on the front. It's probably on that shelf. It's for the orange book with the sun on the front, the white sun. And then it was also in the, what is that handbook that we came across a long, long time ago? Yes, Ascension Manual. Had that quote in it too, but it had already resonated with me. So I think they just did the same thing as brought it in. And I can tell you right now, this has changed. This figure has totally changed. And it changed because of how our society is progressing. So I'm not going to have time for much more. So what I want you guys just to do is just reflect on this chart. If you were to look at where you're operating from with all honesty, where would you be? And yes, reality is this. You might be here, but you jump back here, and then you go, and then you jump back here, and you jump back here. And different circumstances will pull you down into here. Okay? It's reality. When my aunt passed away, I was in some grief for a little bit. You know, but then I just bounced right back. It's where do you normally operate from? When you make decisions in life, when you're acting in life, when you are showing up in life, where are you making these from? Are you making them from fear? Are you making them out of depression? Are you living from guilt and shame? You got to just ask yourself some honest questions, okay? Before we move into closing up for tonight, questions, thoughts, comments. Yes. Yes. I love that. Angelique was just saying it's cyclical. You know, you're not just staying in one place with it. It's so true. And you might go, you know how I explained that we have those stairs, or even if you get to this point, you're on a really nice plateau and you're up in love and joy and peace for a while, and all of a sudden you're like, ah! You know, when that happens, you're like, oh, crap, here I am again. I got to get through it. But then you'll bounce back up because that's where you came from. You are going to get into it.
Yeah, I always kind of go back. Generally see those vibrations back in to bring you back.
Yeah.
That way you don't identify it. Not identifying it.
Yeah.
Where, right?
That's perfect. So Natasha is talking about how it's that whole observer again. You're observing it, and she explained that when she gets to that place where all of a sudden she's down in the depths, she can kind of pull in the attributes that she used when she was in peace and joy and happiness. You know, say, I'm going to stay in a positive place. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to get out walking. I'm going to eat right. I'm going to do these things that are going to get me into a better place. And I'm going to use my wisdom. I'm going to get out of my chatter. I'm going to get into my wisdom. So use all your techniques to move through. But you're still going to go through it. Oh, yeah.
So as we do this,
Yes. I love that. She explained that as you're getting into all of the hardship, that you're really trudging through it to come through the other side. When you come through the other side, you're in so much more expansiveness. And it was the ego that actually caused you to get into that space. And of course it did. It's got a job. And it's perfect, but we don't have to let it rule us. It's a biggie. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. Yeah. And I'll tell you, there are a lot of people on this planet. He said it seems like, you know, when I was going through my stuff that I knew a lot of the information, but I didn't apply it. And it's when you're ready, you're ready. When you are ready and you have finally just said inside your being, I cannot live this way anymore. I cannot live in pain. I cannot live in misery. I cannot live in self-destruction. I cannot do it any longer. How many of you have gotten to that point? I mean, remember it vividly. You know, I can't do it any longer. And when you get to that point and you finally just surrender, that's when you finally get to that place where you're like, okay, I'm shifting because I have to. And every time it seemed really hard, I would get into that place of we need to go through this hardship or you're going to be this way. Do you want to stay this way the rest of your life? No. Do you want to keep drawing this in? No. Then go through it. That's what I did. I just kept moving through. Yeah. There are a lot of people that I witnessed who they go to every workshop possible. They got every book and every tape and everything that there is, but they can't apply it. And they'll talk the talk about it. Well, Abraham Hicks says, oh, shush, go apply that and then talk to me. And that's not a judgment. It's just it doesn't do you any good to hold the knowledge that keeps it right here in your frontal cortex so you can spit it out to everybody out here. It doesn't do you any good because nobody cares if you're important but you. So what's true? No, really. Nobody cares that anybody's important but you. Okay? So if you stop that ego part of it and you say, okay, I've got to internalize it, I've got to apply it, then it becomes a different role. So, ready for a little meditation? So what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes. And we're going to start by taking a very, very deep breath into the base of our abdomen so that we're really hitting that perineum, letting the pelvic floor drop, allowing yourself to breathe as deep as you possibly can. When you're at the top of your breath, let go even more and breathe even deeper. Letting it flow out your mouth at your own pace. Next breath that you take in, bring in that beautiful source energy. Let it flow in a column through your core. Letting it go. Stress, tension. And then I want you to imagine that you're going to connect your feet into the earth like you're growing energetic roots down into the earth. Mother Earth is a soul just like we are, connecting with her nurturing, loving, supportive energy. Allow yourself to be there with her. Appreciate your human experience as you dig your energy in. You came here for a reason. Love it. Hold on to it. Say some gratitude for this experience. It's growing you. And then allow your heart to open up nice and wide. As you feel your heart open, feel yourself getting a little vulnerable in this room, letting it be open so that you can see all that you need to see. And I want you to open your throat chakra so that you've got your truth very open. Imagine that the blue energy in your throat is expanding outward. Allow yourself now to take your conscious thoughts, and I want you to imagine moving it back behind your eyes in the center. It's like you're just depositing it there. I don't have to think. I don't have to problem solve. I don't have to do anything. There's no expectation. I just get to be at this moment. I'm letting the thought go. And as you let the thought go, since your eyes are closed, it doesn't make any sense to project any sight forward. So remove your sight from the external world, moving it inside of you, so that now you can see in all directions. You are aware. You are aware of you. You are aware of your emotions. You are aware of your higher self. Move your thought back even further now, really going deep into your brain, really going back into that third eye. And imagine that the top of your head is opening nice and wide. And a column of white light about the width of a golf ball is starting to flow in through the crown of the head and enters into the pineal gland. And allow yourself just to receive. If you go into thought, just move it back again. And I'm going to ask some questions, and all I want you to do is receive. Do not let yourself go back into thought. Receive the information. Are you beautiful source energy? Just receive. Are you bad, insignificant, or worthless? Receive. What is the biggest lesson you came here to learn? Don't think. Receive. Feel your emotions on that. What did you come here to learn? Keep thought out of it. And now, allow that column of white light to flow down into your throat and flow down into your heart. And I want you to open that heart even wider now that you're in that space of allowing source energy into the pineal. And feel how much your guides love you, how much they want to communicate with you. Feel that beauty of where you come from. Feel that you are not alone. And as your heart is open, I want you to think about you as a soul. To move that beautiful white light down through your abdomen and down into your sacral energy down below your belly button. And really feel your heart, your sacral, your wisdom all talking to you now. Who are you as a soul? What is the soul that came here? Stay in the pineal. Don't go into thought. Who are you? And feel love and appreciation for who you are. Staying in the pineal, all I want you to do is open your eyes. And as you open your eyes, I want you to notice the room. And I want you to notice the lack of static, the lack of noise. Notice the stillness in your body. Notice what it feels like to be in the pineal with your eyes open. You're aware. You're not in chatter. You can have this presence of mind while being in the pineal. Take a nice deep breath. Ground yourself down into earth. Feel that gratitude for all that you've been exposed to. And class is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Yes. Yes, it'll be sent separately. We've recorded them all, and it will be sent to you again. I also want to just kind of reiterate, next time we'll be getting into what are your personal triggers, which I hope we got into this time between. I hope I see you all next Thursday. You're welcome. Oh, okay. Thank you. And for those of you at home, thank you for tuning in and being with us. Have a good night.